Chad, thanks for joining us today.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be here.
Yep.
I mean, it's good to be out.
Yeah.
It's good to be out.
So 270 Surgical, you're President and Chief Commercial Officer there, right?
Yes, sir.
And what brings you to the LSI conference, and maybe a little bit about technology?
Yeah, so we are a laparoscopic visualization camera company. And before you think, oh boy, no, another scope, we're actually solving three long-standing issues that have plagued the ability for the surgeon to see inside the abdomen for a long time. Number one being their field of view. Okay, right now, the current construct of laparoscopy, which by the way is great, what they can do today is great. But by virtue of the fact that you've got a camera sitting outside the body looking through a glass lens, automatically all the caregivers in the room have tunnel vision. And there's this whole cascading sequence of events that happens because of that. If I'm holding your camera, Joe, and you want me to be looking somewhere, I better be able to use it like a flashlight because you only have the 70-degree field of view. So we're opening that up from 70 degrees to 270 degrees by changing the construct of how the scope is actually made. Having said that, we're also remediating and eliminating fog from the equation, which is significant for workflow, as well as being able to give the caregivers the ability to see through smoke. We don't vent the smoke out, we don't manage the smoke, you're seeing through it. And there's very few technologies that I've seen that have come up with such a comprehensive solution to things that have been around for so long.
You know, historically, scopes have either come out of Japan or Germany, and this is coming out of Israel.
That's right.
So the Israelis do it once again.
Yes, yes, that's right.
Tell me a little bit about that technology, that team. What was the genesis of that tech?
Yeah, so this team has actually, this would be their third visualization platform. A lot of the core team members actually started Peer Medical years ago, which had a colonoscope with expanded field of view, ultimately merged with EndoChoice, and then went public before being bought by Boston Scientific. Same team, different application, totally different technology, but solving an even bigger issue than you have in the colon. You know, you have to imagine some of these patients are quite large, and so the geography that you're managing inside, the visualization component is really important. So this team brings experience. They are innovative as can be. They've got great technology. Coming from Stryker, I'm very picky about the quality of the image. The image is incredible, which was probably my biggest concern. And the way that they've changed the way that the scope works from moving the camera from back to front is totally innovative. So I'm really proud of the team and glad to represent them here.
It seems like the chip on the tip is really the progressive part of where scopes are going, and that lends the question. I've seen a movement over the last 24, 36 months into the disposable scope. Is that any threat to you, or where do you sit in that area?
No, so we firmly believe in a disposable scope. In fact, I think the engineering team would rather make a scope that you could throw away rather than having to make it go through the rigors of sterilization. When you have 3 camera sensors at the distal end of the scope that have to be autoclaved, you know, that's you know, a source of great anxiety when you think about how to make sure that your quality systems are great and all that type of thing. So having said that, we are on board with the ability for us to make a disposable scope. It's already kicked off the project for it, and we're very bullish that it's going to be a really good platform for the future.
So you're here at the LSI conference. Where are you in the sort of journey of the organization? Are you pre-revenue? Where do you sit regulatory-wise, if you can share that with us? And what are you hoping to walk away with here beside attention and awareness?
No, great questions. We are through 80 cases that have gone flawlessly in humans. We've talked to over 100 surgeons around 7 countries with translators in different languages and things like this. We've really exposed the scope to a lot of different opinions, and we feel great about where it stands. From a regulatory standpoint, we submitted 510K in January. We've already fielded the first round of questions. You never know with the FDA, and such a great partner and somebody that keeps an eye on what we're doing, but we feel good about where we stand about the regulatory pathways. We're anticipating launch of the product here in the next 3 or 4 months. We're going to launch it very slowly. We're going to go out and collect 10 or 20 accounts. We're going to make sure that we're driving utilization, continuing to learn, and you know, do it the right way before we really go out and attack the market.
With the 270 field of view, and I had a chance to see it, it was a little bit of a, you and I chatted about it. It was like when I had my Escalade and I was sitting in the demo, and he flipped down the rear view, and all of a sudden I had this huge field of view, and it was discomforting at first. Yes. So that's a really interesting perspective. And you also share with me there are other clinicians and other sort of verticals that are interested in this scope. And is that one of the reasons why, the field of view? Thoracic surgeons and others.
Yeah, so we're excited because the feedback is consistent. In the abdomen, safer, faster, and easier are the words that keep coming up. But we're probably even more excited about the impact that we can make above the diaphragm. You know, you've got CT surgeons that use laparoscopes to perform surgery, even though they have different needs than the general surgeon. Cardiac surgeons are greatly underserved in their ability to use scope technology to see the unusual angles. And as we've done more than 20 cardiothoracic cases, we were most excited about how exuberant they were to talk to the cardiac surgeons, bring them into the room and say, look at this scope. That prompted cardiac surgeons to start coming down to the office, brainstorming about how they could use this new tool to take what's currently open procedures into minimally invasive world and expand the reaches of the laparoscope, which is very exciting for us.
So that, you know, right now that cardiothoracic is some of the solutions to add a non-invasive imaging potential partnership. That's what I hear a lot here potentially for 270 is really interesting partnerships with some of the emerging tech companies.
Yeah, of course, when we think about, as we call it, what we see on the screen as visual intelligence, VI, okay? When you combine what VI has the capability to do with the great tech coming out of AI, when you take VI and you multiply it by 5, we're giving 5 times more visible information on the screen than what's currently available. Throw AI on top, and there's some great partnership opportunities that could be forged.
So you're going to get intraoperative advisement, it sounds like. So are you doing the AI yourself right now, or are you looking at partnering with AI experts? Because gosh, I just need to go anywhere, throw a golf ball anywhere in Israel, and I've got an AI think tank.
We are not currently doing it, we're exploring it, it's on our roadmap. We want to execute on the scope, knowing that there's great companies who are doing AI, that if we say, what could you do if you had 5 times more data, visible data, VI, what could you do with that? We think that there could be an exponential relationship between those two.
And not just data, but sounds like the fidelity of the data and the image you're getting is amazing.
It's excellent. It is truly excellent.
Yeah. So are you here looking for investors? Are you here just networking the next couple of days? What's your goal?
Well, both. For sure, we're looking for investors. We've got a very, very generous and excited group of early investors. We're here to complement that. We're doing a $40 million B round. We've raised about 11.5 of that from those early investors in the convertible note. So we've already taken a big bite out of it, but we're looking for a lead investor to come in and understand the impact of how we're going to change visualization surgery, and excited about that.
Awesome. Is there anything I didn't ask you today about 270 that I should have?
No, I feel like you've interrogated me just quite fine. Thank you, and you're good at this. No, we feel good, and the only thing I would say is that if we were here a year ago, we would have had a lot different posture. A year ago, we really thought of ourselves as a great camera company that was going to find 2 or 3 procedures and be a specialty camera system. At the urging of more than 100 surgeons, all of whom say, why are you looking for 1 or 2 procedures? This is for all of laparoscopy. We have now come to realize that yes, we're going to change the way that you see inside the abdomen. We could radically change potentially the way you see above the diaphragm, and that's probably the biggest shift that you would have seen had we been here at LSI last year.
That's interesting, and I love to hear that you're not held hostage, or there's not an ego at the helm that's like, no, this is what we're going to do and we're not going to move off of it. Sometimes that's good, sometimes it's a liability, so I love to hear that as well.
Yeah, surgeon feedback, end user feedback really matters, and you have to be agile. And look, for us, it's a great thing. The markets are a lot bigger than if you're a specialty scope, so
Awesome.
excited.
Well, thanks for sharing it with me.
Hey, thanks, Joe.
You got it, man.
Yeah, take care.
You will.